My name is Sonya Meadows, and I am owner of a brand called Bostress that elevate and help a lot of women out in different areas as far as business and also supporting them in them areas. And I'm a storm chaser. Been doing that for 22 years. Then I have my own TPA as well, which is called Future Claim Service. Um, for like 3, 4 years, almost 5 years before managing it and um waitressing first and then managing it when Magic had went to prison. Well, come from Detroit. I always wanted and had big dreams. And I've seen everybody around me with big dreams, but they were street dreams. And so I just I knew that it was more to the world than just Michigan. So I wanted to travel and find out where my spirit felt comfortable at. And I traveled to California, met my grandfather, my real grandfather, who I found out I was Haitian and Dominican. And then from there, I really didn't like California. I liked it, but I didn't because it was near the Bay Area. I went back home to Michigan and stayed for maybe about a couple months and was asked to go on a trip to Atlanta. And that was all she wrote. And I loved Atlanta. I love that it was open. It was very friendly, like me, myself, because Michigan, Detroit is not a nice place to be. And so it fit with my spirit, and I loved it. And so I came and I stayed, and I got a little job, and it wasn't a lot, but then I still was seeking for other things. I didn't know what I was seeking for. I just started seeking because I knew I just couldn't make that little bit of money coming all the way from Michigan to Atlanta. So, because I knew I was trying to help out with my mom and help out at home and wherever else I was needed at that time, because I'm the go getter and the black sheep of the family. I had some friends, Lance, which is like a cousin. He was managing Goody Mob, which they were called the chain gang back then. And so him and a guy named Chris had came into the club. Came to my apartment one day. I was cooking and said, "Oh wow, she would be excellent at Magic City." And I was like, "What is that?" And he made his jokes. Chris made his jokes, and so I was like, "Oh wow!" So I'm interested now because it sounds like they make a lot of money. And so when they took me down there, I was like, "Oh wow." These girls are in here naked? I don't think so. So it didn't look so bad, but I was like, okay, well, why not take the chance? I went on to take the chance, and because I definitely didn't want to make no $4 or $5 an hour or whatever I was making when I first came here, but I was just willing to take something just to, make a living to be able to pay for my apartment. I think the misconception of dancers is everybody's a HOE. It's definitely not true. There's people in there that's going to college. That was at my time. There was people in there going to college, trying to help out with their family just as well as me, and they were doing what they had to do that they thought that was a good thing to do. The misconception is that everybody is the same, and it's not, because there was a difference between entertainers, as we were called then, than strippers that they call them now. There was a big difference because we definitely entertain. We had to be in certain apparel every night, whether it was gowns, but definitely not like the t-shirts and the bottoms and coming up there smacking on gum. It was definitely respect. It was almost like a Vegas type of scenery, that he held us in high regard. So that's the way we had to dress every day, with the long gowns or whatever your costumes were during out the night. But it definitely wasn't how they are now. And not that I have something against it, but it's just not as appealing as it was then. You know what I'm saying? Well, Charles is doing good. I seen him at Magic's birthday party back in December of last year. He's doing well. Still look the same. Still had the same attitude. Bossy. But I think that back then it was more like family because the young ladies, whether we knew you or not, once you were in that circle, it became a family environment versus her against her. You understand what I'm saying? It wasn't her against her. It was all of us. If somebody came in the club that was outside of the club, whether we knew you or not, and they did something, well, you got 100 women that's going to beat you up about that one person or whoever it was. That's just how we were as a group. It was more like family, more or less than a competition. I think more or less now that because it's not a family idea of situation now. It's more of a competition because of the world changes and social media changed a lot of things. Because if we were those women back in the day, we would be awfully infamous. So we didn't go see the stars; they came to see us. So we were the stars. Everywhere we went, we was VIP. It didn't matter. Everywhere we went, it was VIP, and I think that the women were held in higher regards than they are now, because it's a different set of men as well than they were now than they are now. Excuse me. Um, there were basketball players. We met everybody in the club except Michael Jackson, and then the Magic Monday. So everybody came out for it mostly like a family. Even if it was street guys, they would, look the way they look in the streets with their white beaters and they jeans on or whatever they was wearing to come in the club dressed nice as gentlemen, and that's the way that they treated the ladies with respect. Regardless to what you're doing and taking off your clothes, it's just a way of living. We're entertaining you. you know, versus now I go in there and I get kind of saddened because I see guys sitting on the stage. That could have never happened during my set. Oh no, not platinum. I would have snapped. You're not sitting on this stage unless you have thousands and thousands of dollars to stand here. So now as they sit on the stage, they smoking, the girls, you don't know who to look at. The people that's in front of the stage that's talking and laughing, or looking at the young ladies that's swinging their life away back and forth, back and forth. It You don't know. So I mean, that we didn't have to do all of that. It's not as organized as it was prior. Because he was, he didn't even, Magic didn't even allow us to come in with rollers. Don't come in here with rollers in your hair because you don't know who is looking at you from the shift before, which is the day shift. And they might want to stay. But if they see y'all coming here with rollers and rolling y'all bag like y'all don't care with y'all night stuff on, then nobody's going to stay here. So we couldn't come in the club looking a certain type of way. Yeah, a lot of times. Just everything, it seems magical. Because, when you say you put things out in the atmosphere that you want to happen the way you want it to happen, then it will happen. Well, he did. He put something out there, and the word was magic. Everything that you can think about, well, I can speak for myself. Everything that I've always wanted to accomplish, I had the magical from Magic City because I believe when I was there that I could do anything that I put my mind to. That was the kind of women that we were around. We challenged each other far as that way, not far as their looks. Because everybody likes somebody different. Somebody might like somebody small, brown skin, this, that, and the other. Somebody might like somebody tall. So it was women of all type of sizes and shapes and backgrounds that you could think of. So there was always a multitude of different women to choose from. So it wasn't a competition thing, but it gave you confidence in who you were. And it always gave me confidence, but I always was an entertainer. I always liked dancing because I came from Detroit and I liked dancing on the scene, and I, I liked ballerina when I was in high school. So I always knew that I would be an entertainer, but never thought that I would end up being a, adult entertainer. But it happened. And I don't regret nothing that I ever did because I met some great people along the way and still have relationships with those same people, even entertainers. The first person that ever threw up, I can say dollars. He was throwing up hundreds, tens, twenties. Was easy, and I met him away from Atlanta. I met him in Miami actually, and so I met him with another young lady that I used to travel with to Miami to the club down there, and she was like, "Come here. I know you know this guy, what he got on. I know you know all of that because I used to look at the robbery reports. Being from Detroit, I mean, guys stayed on all kind of different type of watches. So I looked at the watch. I say, that's a Patek Philippe. Oh my God. And I said, what are shoes looking like? she was like, I don't know what those shoes are. And I went over there. I said, girl, he got some money. He don't have to have all them chains on to say he had money. But that watch that's plain, it's about 200,000 on his wrist without diamonds. So he was like the first one. And he came to Atlanta and he was the first one to throw up garbage bags full of money because on my 26th birthday, people used to kind of get on my nerve a lot. I used to kind of be a little feisty and take up for myself in defense of being from Detroit. But he came up to me, he said, Sonya, we can't have no more fighting. If you can stay out of trouble for this amount of time until your birthday, I'm going to come in the club and I'm going to give you. And when he said that, I didn't go to no clubs. I didn't go nowhere. I stayed out of everybody's reach until my birthday. And I made over $70,000 that year. That was my 26th birthday. I had like leaf bags full of money. And Ed Lover was the one who kind of did my birthday bash. And then DC, where Whoop There It Is came from, was my friend Tammy has said, Whoop, there she is. Whoop, there she is. And it turned into Whoop, there it is. And that's me in the background too. I never felt unsafe, but
at any one point, not in general.
When it started being a lot of robbing going on, and I had never heard of a lot of robbing, so I guess it'd be seasons for that. yeah, you'd be a little bit reluctant because you don't know who's who. And yeah, I did at a time or so feel a little unsafe, but not unsafe inside the club. But once you leave, because you never know who's watching you leaving either. And so being from Michigan, I kind of circled a couple blocks. Mia went to the store, come back, just to make sure I'm safe because I know that I had a mom at home also worried about me as well. Like, and not knowing that I could take care of myself, but she's still my mom. That mom's going to worry always about her children, no matter how old they get. Well, knowing Meech, from home all the way to Atlanta, and seeing in passing, and you always know, oh, she looked familiar. Then, oh, you from Detroit? Oh yeah, I remember. That's how that thing was. Because of course they were young and doing whatever they were doing at home, and I was just a young girl trying to hang out when I could, if I could sneak out. But that time, he brought a lot of influence also in the club. A lot of different people, a lot of people that just looked up to him because of the person that he he is, which he's a giver. You know, regards to the background of what people see, he has always had a great heart and always been like a brother figure to me, as well as him telling me I'm like a sister to him. And he also introduced me to my first boyfriend in the South, which he came from St. Louis, and his name was Byron Perkins. They called him Perk. So, and just introduced me to some great people. And, you know, everybody always wanted to see people excel or get ahead. It was nothing about no robbing and killing each other. But you had those type of people, you just didn't know. If you spoke to them every day, you just didn't know that they were that type of people. Because the robbing crew, I just couldn't believe it, because I talked to them every day, if just like me and you, but just didn't know that they was the robbing crew. Wow, you know. But he brought a lot of positivity when it came to the club, and just a good guy overall. You could tell him anything or what you're needing or what's going on, and he's going to aid and assist or try to at his finest and his best. That's just him, regardless to what he did in the world, far as how he made the living. We never got into that, or people never got into that. Just when they come in the club, oh, he's here, he's here. The waitresses,
Yeah.
he's here.
Like Santa Claus walking the door.
Yeah, exactly. The night was dead, and here come Santa Claus, and everybody glycerin and smiling and going to get 15,000 bottles. You know, and all these stacks of ones. Yeah, but yeah. You know, I never looked at him any other way but as a brother figure and a good person at heart, you know, because he helped me out with my book before he got locked up. He was like, what do you need? And I met him at the hotel near the Marriott, no, not Marriott, Lenox Mall, right across from there. And I was telling him that, you know, about my book and everything and what I was trying to do, because everything that's going on now, I've already said that 10, 15 years ago, but the world wasn't accepting it. Now they're accepting it. I've been saying something about a movie or all this. It wasn't good then, but now it's acceptable now. However, he he looked out for me, and he was like, you want to get the book done? I said, yeah, I definitely do. I want to get it out. My story is my truth, my story. And I think that it's a lot of women or females that could relate to what I'm going through. And he helped me. And then a week later, he was locked up. And then, you know, we communicated why he was locked up. And especially my mom. My mom prayed for him that day that he gave me the money. And he was like, wow, Sonya, I never had a prayer like that in a long time. Your mama really prayed for me. And my mom always said, how's Meech doing, this and that, while he was locked up. And I said, I think he's coming home, because he's not a bad person. People have to do what they have to do to make a living in their world, or whatever that may look like to other people, even though it may not be legal. But he still came back and gave back to the community of whatever he made in some of his profits. He looked out for a lot of people. I know he looked out for me. I know he looked out for lots of other people, and then other people in different ways. This depends on what relationship you have with him. Yeah, the perception of how the the entertaining clubs are. Yeah, I didn't agree with a lot of that, but I'm sure it's supposed to be not exactly to or
Yeah.
how it would be, but a lot of that and the way that they had the women portrayed in the show. Thank you. Thank you for helping me grow into the businesswoman that I am today. And thank you for allowing me to see a lot of misconceptions when it comes to men. Because a lot of women will come and to the club, they may not have a father, and they looking for that father figure, and it's just a lot that I could think. And I also want to thank Magic for believing and wanting to see this dream come to fruition the way it did for him. Being that he came from Duke University, he might have been going pro. Who knows, or who would have known? But he saw a different vision, and God made that vision the way it was until almost now that it's almost 40 years come this September. So thank you for elevating women in such a way that it's not disrespected. But when you have a different generation that don't know where you came from, your beginnings, I think that they would have a lot more respect for the beginnings than where they are now, and wanted to entertain and to respect themselves as we did, and that he demanded to us to do. You know, it was no other kind of way. Don't disrespect yourself. Don't do this. Don't do that. It was almost like helping everybody grow into the flower or the rose or daffodils that they are today, because they are a lot of business women. There are a lot of doctors, lawyers, prominent. So it helped a lot of people. It helped a lot of women shape themselves. But now it's more social media shaping you into who you're looking at. So it's almost like fake, because a lot of women, you know, wasn't worried about if they back of their rear end was bigger than yours. It's all about the personality, the talk that you had then. So it's more authentic than it is now, to me, my opinion, because now it's more like who behind is bigger than the next, or it's just not real as it was. And then you had women back then that were self-conscious about how big their breasts were or whatever, but it wasn't to the extreme it was now. It's to the extreme. So, because everybody's starting to look the same. The cheeks, doing all this stuff with their cheeks, their rear ends, and really leaving their legs skeletor. But, you know, we were all shaped the same. And then you have women in there shaped like the women that they're paying the money to do today. Star, beautiful. I mean, I said 100% of a true mare, not a stallion, because we're women. So women are mares, not stallions. So I think that she was one of like the most intriguing women that I've ever seen with a shape like that. And that came from her working out. We were more workout women back then than they are now. It's more body bought. But I'm not mad at them, because that's the way society makes them think that they have to look. Because now guys are saying, I don't like that. I'm not taking it home to my mom. You know what I mean? Back then we were the type that could go home to a mom if you had the etiquette that the guy was looking for to take home to his mom. Basketball players, football players, and some women left out of there married to some of the athletes and still married to today. So, but it's to each his own. And as we grow, the world grows, but that doesn't mean it has to grow to a disrespectful growth. Still maintain your womanhood, even though you have to do what you have to do, but don't disrespect yourself in the midst of it. That's the way I take from it, and not taking nothing away from the women today, because it's different.